This video is one that I've kind of been sitting on for a couple of months, or working on slowly for a couple of months, I should say. We've all been consumed, though, by draft speculation, draft videos, free agency hitting now. So we've all been caught up in that, myself included. The title of this video, the RPO, is not an NFL scheme or not an NFL concept. It is something that I reject entirely. I've gathered some of those thoughts during a couple of live streams, maybe 6, 8 weeks ago, something like that, on my old channel, and I recognized quickly that there were a lot of people who don't recognize what an RPO is, because they think that there's some quarterback run element associated with the RPO, and that's not true. B, there's people who think that it is a gadget play, a glitch play, something that you cannot run against NFL defenses for whatever reason. Now, look, of course, NFL defenses are sophisticated and extremely fast and react well, and they're well taught. NFL coaches are great teachers. They are, because it's their full-time job, right? They get to sit and study film and get ready for practice. Spend a lot of time getting ready for practice. Anything you put a lot of time in, you can be great at, especially if you've got a lot of experience. So NFL defenses are sophisticated. They're great. Don't get me wrong. Even the bad defenses will be great in college. So, but that doesn't mean that RPOs can't be run. And in fact, I think RPOs should be run against the great defenses because it puts people in conflict. So, as we go through this, I have these aggregated or organized, by scheme. So the first section is going to be snag schemes. Now, this is not exactly snag. Snag, you would normally have this number one, running the angled hook somewhere near the hash, depending on his alignment. This is a snag seam, so he's running it here as his stem, and then he's jutting upfield up the hash because this safety, I think, is coming upfield. I've got film from the Chargers, Ravens, Eagles, Chiefs, and maybe one from the Saints, maybe. Or maybe I deleted that one. But in any case, it's going to show multiple teams running RPO schemes. Now, look, is every time that I show you one of these plays, do I know that it's an RPO? No. There's some that are just play action. But that's the whole point of the RPO. The defense doesn't know. The defense doesn't know what they're getting. Now, first of all, I believe that in this case, Herbert is reading the DN because he's unblocked. Second of all, the safety, Jesse Bates, is getting a run block by that tackle. Looks to me like a combo block where he's taking him down. So he's going to take off and come downfield, and then Herbert hits the seam to Keenan Allen, wide open touchdown. So that's the snag concept with a seam off of it. Let's look at the snag the way that it should look. It's going to be, the read typically for an RPO is going to be on the same side as the back. There are such things as what's called backwards RPOs, but they're slightly different, and I don't have a great handle on them mentally myself. Hopefully I will deal with one of them at the end. Hopefully people who have a better understanding of backwards RPOs than me can add to it in the comments section. But in any case, the back is here. There's the snag concept. You've got the number one receiver running the angled hook, the slot receiver, whatever he is, whether it's a tight end or an actual wide receiver, running out into the flats. We call it a shoot route. You got the back cross and face. This D end is taking the running back, and you'll see he actually hits him. I mean, he knocks the crap out of him. So he's reading that correctly. Jalen Hurts, I mean. And then throwing it out into the flats. Now, the safety makes a great play on it and tackles him for like a 1-yard gain. But that is the snag concept. Option number one, the running back taken away by the D end or edge player, if you will. So option one, gone. Option two, typically, moving your eyes from here, not that player, but the read to then here. And that's option two taken away. He's covered. And then option three, also covered. Great play by the DB. We'll check it out from the end zone angle. There's the read guy. This is the first possession of the season for the Eagles against the Falcons. Read guy's going to stem down. There's the angled hook by, I think that's Devonta Smith, or snag concept. Simultaneous to this, one of the things the Eagles do that's really cool is they got the H-back or the tight end, and he's going to kick out number 6 if he slams down. Now, he misses, but in any case, you see the idea. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of moving pieces. It does look complicated, but it's a very simple play. Falcons defended it well on that play. They did not defend the Eagles well in week one, however. All right, so Another RPO by the Eagles. This is a snag concept again. Same formation except flipped. Now the back is on Jalen Hurts' left instead of being on his right. This is out of 12 personnel. One running back, two tight ends, and you can see the two tight ends are in the slot here. It's a condensed formation. Sometimes you get some indicators pre-snap that you're getting an RPO by the condensed nature of the formation on the side of the back. Oftentimes, the offenses I'm familiar with seeing at the high school level, you get a condensed formation to the side of the back, and you get the receivers with normal splits on the opposite side of the back. In some cases, that was an indicator that you were possibly getting an RPO. But in any case, let's run the play. Snag concept by number 1 and a shoot route by number 2, which is the tight end in this case. And you can see Hurts is reading something. The D end is being unblocked and kicked out by the H-back. The strong safety, number 26, is stepping up, and the angled hook or the snag hits right in that vacated space. Huge gain. Run it from the end zone angle. There's the safety that I'm referring to. He's going to come downhill when he sees the mesh. The DN94 is unblocked. Here, getting kicked out by the H-back. Here's the safety stepping up with the run element. And Hurts easy completion. It's a great concept. Simple, quick, puts defenses in conflict. I'm not sure which part of it. Well, I know which part of it people reject. I understand it. People reject anything that's got the word option in it because there's a lot of people who only watch high-level college football and the NFL, which is, of course, very high level, and they think that anything with the word option in it is not an NFL concept, and they're wrong. The option game is one of the foundational elements of many offenses. They just may not use the run option. They may use the RPO or other option routes that utilize basically the same concept. Ravens running the snag concept. Now, we were a little bit more tendency-based to run this out of what I call twin wing. You've got two tight ends here. Technically, it's a fullback, Ricard, and a tight end. So that's why I have this labeled as 21 personnel. I know I'm veering off into personnel stuff now, but 21 personnel is one running back, the tailback, a second running back, the fullback, in this case Ricard, and then one tight end. So it's a 21 personnel grouping, but it is a 12 personnel formation. But the defense doesn't know the formation, obviously, when they're called onto the field. So the Broncos respond with their base defensive personnel. They're reading the outside linebacker on this RPO all game long. And you can see the outside linebacker is in no man's land. He's actually in the window a little bit of Lamar to throw the snag concept. And it's got to, in most cases, it's got to have the back on the read side. So if you are an outside linebacker and you come up to the line of scrimmage, this guy right here knows I'm not the read guy. But the Ravens run some stuff where they run power read with the back. So you could be the read guy on that side. But in any case, this guy probably has an inkling he's the read guy. When he gets motion to him, he widens up, not wide enough, and Lamar throws it out there to Marquise Brown. Easy gain to the sideline, wide side of the field. I'm not sure which part of this, which play so far hasn't been an NFL play for those people who hold those beliefs that the RPO is not an NFL concept. I think it was something that was said multiple times by anti-Lamar Jackson people who came into the streams. And what I'm trying to do is show multiple quarterbacks running these concepts. And what I haven't shown yet is Chiefs film, but I'll get to that. Snag concept again. This time hits the angled hook. It's Prochet as the X or running the snag because the outside linebacker widened up with Marquise Brown this time, and then Prochet fit in the space behind him. The inside linebackers typically are reacting to the run action, and maybe you've got linemen moving this way as well, so they're reacting to that. In any case, you get the motion by Marquise Brown. Outside linebacker widens up. Like I said, there's a mesh here that this linebacker's tracking, and this linebacker or strong safety's keeping eyes on as well. You can see the outside linebackers cross the midline, so all this space over here is opened up for James Prochet to fit in. I think that ball was actually tipped. Against the Vikings, RPO snag down in the goal line. You got Marquise Brown not really angling it, but he's going to sit. Ricard's going to run the shoot. It's a tough catch. I don't believe we got in the end zone on this. I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't believe we got in the end zone there. But you simultaneous to that on this play, one of the things I really like about this play, is that from the other side, you've got this deep cross route in the back of the end zone. So when you do get, some type of matchup, let's say Ricard gets covered by this corner. All right, cool. You can do that. And then let's say Marquise Brown gets covered by this safety. Great. One of the things I like that's built into this play is the deeper crossing route, which I think is Miles Boykin, to be honest with you. But you also have a D end, who's, now to me, if we're actually reading this should be a give. I don't know what you guys think. This should be a give if we're reading this guy right here, if that's what Lamar's reading. But we don't know, exactly if that's what he's reading. We'll get the end zone angle, and maybe you can see where his face mask is pointed. He could be reading this D end, or he could be reading this inside linebacker, which I think is Barr. To me, that should be a give. But in any case, it was not. It's a completed pass to Marquise Brown. All right, snag concept again. One of the things you'll notice about a lot of these RPOs, for the Ravens at least, is they're being run to the wide side of the field. So the ball is on the left hash, and we're running this thing to the field where there's more space to sift this out. The Vikings are one of those teams like the Bengals. They don't like to roll their safeties down on motion, and so there's one corner trying to cover two guys, and that's impossible. He could have thrown it to Bateman as well. He threw it to Marquise Brown for a huge gain up the right sideline. Going to try to breeze through some of these so people can see the Chiefs running a lot of RPOs as well. I think the Chiefs ran a crap ton of RPOs the last 2 years. You can see what it creates. You've got a 2-on-2 out here. You got a safety in a corner versus Marquise Brown and Bateman running the snag concept. We had two good options for Lamar to throw it to on that play. Chargers versus the Browns. I think this was a crazy 47-42 game. This one is exactly the opposite of what I just said a moment ago in terms of where it's run. They're running this into the boundary. It's going to be a huge gain by the tight end, which I think is Jarrett Cook. I could be wrong. But in any case, it's a tightly condensed split by the X and the tight end, or the Y, and then the halfback on the same side. So and again, over here you've got wider splits by these two guys, or excuse me, normal splits by those two receivers. The defense that I know, the teams that I've seen a lot of, is that's an indicator for you that you got RPO possibility over here to this side. In any case, you can see what happens. There's a mesh with the back. This number one receiver trying to shield this DB, strong safety, and they spring it out there to Cook wide open. Huge gain. Really like this play. Herbert does a great job of reading it. So does Lamar. So does Jalen Hurts. So does Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen certainly runs a ton of RPOs as well. So when people make a criticism of something related to the Ravens or any team, I like to look across the rest of the league and see if other people are doing as well. I'm not sure who he's reading here, to be honest with you, because this guy's getting blocked by the left tackle, right? That's the DN. I think it's Garrett. He's getting blocked by the left tackle. This safety here, 22, I believe that Keenan Allen is told to shield him. I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's intentionally getting in the way of that safety. So, to me, I'm not sure what Herbert is reading. Maybe he's looking all the way out here at the damn corner to make sure the corner's not jumping up to take Jarrett Cook. I think that is Jarrett Cook. So you can see you've got two DBs here, one of them being shielded by the number one receiver, Keenan Allen, and then this is the corner who's playing with some depth as well. Neither one of them covering Jarrett Cook. Wide open, great play, into the boundary. Cool concept, if you ask me, by the Chargers. All right, Chargers again versus the Browns. What do you got? You got two down here, tightly condensed, running back same side, and you've got normal splits to the wide side of the field. Let's see what we got. We're getting far enough into this playlist here that I don't exactly remember some of these plays. Snag concept. It is labeled up here too in case you want to look. Snag concept. And it's a give to the running back. And this linebacker number 4 makes a great play right here. We'll rewind it a couple times. He's right there. I'll keep rewinding so you can watch him track the running back and make a great play. Short gain. Another one of those small inside linebackers for Cleveland that's really active. Now, they did get gashed in the run game, this game against the Chargers, because they played so much nickel defense. 28-4 really had trouble trying to find a gap to fit in. But Ford did a great job here. Just a wrong look by them taking their other inside backer and putting him off the edge. But it works out for this play. You can see the running back's got potentially two gaps to go to, but you got the center one-on-one with the nose, and then number 4 is able to cancel the other gap. There's a D tackle making a great play over there too. I don't want to get to some other concepts besides just the snag. Now the Chiefs are interesting because they'll run RPOs everywhere. They do have some tendencies, however, and I'll try to explain it during this video. You got almost a stacked twins look here, and the back on this side. So kind of the opposite of what I've been discussing so far, where the Chargers would have had the running back on this side, where you have two tightly lined receivers. Well, what it can tell us is it's not a screen, and I'll explain that a little more as we go on. Kind of looks really like a slant, to be honest with you. They're RPO and Reed and Patrick Queen, and they did this all game long. You can see Queen is here on the side of the back, and Mahomes is going to read him. One of the things that I have said for years about the RPO is what they're doing is, oftentimes I believe they want to run it to a side where you have a 1 and a 5. Because what they want is they want to clear out this B gap. They want to make this B gap expanded. They want to make it wide, because what they are trying to give, think of like a mouse or something. You put a mouse trap down. You want that mouse to see it, right? So what they want to do is, in my opinion, and no one has told me this except my own brain thinking of it, they want a clear view for this linebacker. They want him to have a clear view to look through and decide what to do, because they want him to see the bait. Now, I'm not saying that Patrick Queen is wrong. There's multiple ways to play it. Some people would have him sit still and then go ahead and, possibly have the ball handed off. And the Ravens certainly did that sometimes against the Chiefs, trying to basically elicit the run from the Chiefs as much as possible, shorten the game, get the clock running. It makes sense. What they don't want, if you ask me often, is they don't want you to put a 3 and this 5 to the side of the back, because then it's harder for them to open up that B gap and give this linebacker a clear view. Also, who else needs to get a clear view of the whole thing? The quarterback needs to get a clear view. He needs to be able to see it. He doesn't want to have granted, most quarterbacks are pretty daggone tall. I don't think Mahomes is an extremely tall guy, but most of them are at least 6'3", 6'4". So he wants to have a view. So that's another reason why they want to run it to a 1 and a 5. If you're not sure what a 1 and a 5 is, you can ask that question in the comments section. Tightly aligned tight end here. I think this is Kelsey. And Tyreek Hill in motion, side of the back. Snag concept into the boundary. Tyreek Hill's able to break a tackle. Sometimes you don't. Really, to me, the Chiefs use this as a substitute for the run game in a lot of ways, in my opinion. This time, I think they're reading this guy here because there's no nickel defender out to the boundary. What I mean by that is, let me get back to the beginning. Ravens got the extra nickel defender to the field, which most people do. So down here to the boundary, we've got a safety, and we've got a corner. Mahomes knows that safety is not going to be involved in defending, either of these two routes. He knows he's not going to. So they're leaving the D end or edge player unblocked, and they know they've got the shoot route. Theoretically, should be a given into the boundary, and it is. Let's just see it from the end zone angle. Hopefully, I'm presenting my information to you, my theory to you guys, that the NFL that the RPO is an NFL scheme, and it is something that's viable in the NFL. In my opinion, you're going to only see more of it. You'll only see more of it. I wish there's probably people out there that track it, how often it's been used in the NFL. I'm sure that the preponderance of RPOs has grown year by year, and I'm quite sure that it's going to continue to do so. You got the back to Lamar's right-hand side on the same side as the tight end, Andrews. I think this might be a hot, to be honest with you. I think you get two blitzers off the edge. Yeah, you do the strong safety and inside backer. Both blitz. This guy here, this guy here. They both blitz. So this could be a hot, but there's clearly a mesh with the running back. Lamar pulls it back and whips it out there to gets it out there to Mark Andrews pretty quick. Could be reading that inside backer, could be reading this strong safety in a normal circumstance, but here both of them blitz, and I'm not sure what the Vikings are doing. It's just not well coordinated for both of those guys to be blitzing and nobody to be helping out with this vacated space here. Easy play for Lamar, easy yards, simple. And that's what you want in today's NFL, right? You want simple stuff. All right, you're going to get 2 slants and a shoot route. This is starting to become somewhat different in terms of the RPOs, and you can kind of tell pre-snap depending on how many receivers you've got out here, to be honest with you. Now, they could still run the basic snag with these 2 guys. They could still run, one of them on a shoot and one of them on the snag route or angled hook. You could still do that. They're actually running double slants here. And he's reading Patrick Queen the same way. And this time, Queen kind of sits. You'll see Queen, he's trying to communicate with the safety. So somebody's telling him something, heads up for the RPO because you got the back on your side. Watch Queen, just sit back, almost slow backpedal, trying to diagnose the play. And they're handing the ball off just because they've got numbers now into the boundary. Why do they have numbers? The nickel defender is here. Humphrey is the nickel in this situation. So you've got corner, safety. You got strong safety, corner, and then the nickel is to the field. So down here we've got one less exterior defender. We've got one less DB outside of the tackle. So the nickel is outside of the left tackle here. Outside of the right tackle or the tight end, yeah, we do have one corner, but we're minus one guy. And you'll see it from the end zone angle really well, the numbers that they have. It's a great play by Malik Harrison, though. One of his better plays, if you ask me. Coming downhill, got a combo block by a lineman. He's fighting off the block. And then Brandon Stevens making a play. All right, so here's Queen. And again, they're going to open the B gap. We've got a 1 and a 5 here, or a wide 5, really a ghost. And you see Mahomes looking right at him. Numbers-wise, they've got great numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lead blockers. And then the 6 guy's going to get the football against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 on 5. Great numbers for them. And we make a nice play on it, though. Malik Harrison, nice play. I don't know if you're catching Malik Harrison. Staying square, getting off the lineman. Brandon Stevens, nice job. Brandon Stevens, nice job coming up and forcing it. Cool job by those 2 young guys. Slants again. And you're probably like, well, hold on a second, Coach. I see 2 guys here in the backfield. Yeah, I think one of them is a tight end. And then I think the actual running back is right here. And the RPO is going to come down to this side. They're going to run the tight end, Kelsey, across to try to get a reaction. And they've got Queen out of the box. Stepped out of the box. You've got a flat route by Kelsey. And you got 2 slants here and here. And they give it to the running back who bounces it outside for a nice little gain. Cool play by Calais Campbell. Hopefully you get a good view of it from the end zone angle here. So again, where are they running the RPO? Right here where the B gap is and the running back is. Queen is the re guy. Kind of gives away what we're doing here by Queen stepping out with the motion by Kelsey. So this is what the Chiefs wanted to do. They recognized he probably knew, Mahomes probably knew, as the motion started, he probably knew that he was going to give this football. Same situation, really. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th guy is the running back who's going to get the football against 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, there's a DB off screen, but there's a receiver out there as well who loses his block to Marlon Humphrey. Check out the play by Calais Campbell. Hopefully, we bring him back. 3 technique, trying to combo him with this lineman and this guard, with this center and this guard. Old man wins, still gets involved in the tackle. And then Humphrey's there as well. Against the Chargers, by the time we played the Chargers in Week 6, teams recognized that when you get the back on the left and you got twins down here, that you probably get an RPO. We hit the Chiefs with this once. Actually, he didn't turn into a slant. He just sat right there. We hit Detroit with this once. I don't think we hit the Raiders with it. Trying to remember the other teams that we had hit. But in any case, by the time we got here to Week 6, teams recognize the formation, so they bring in this safety off the edge in case Lamar was to keep it. They bring in this guy for the run. So if Lamar's reading him, then this should be a pull and throw it. So what they're trying to do is knock Lamar in the teeth and then force him to throw the football. But the slant route or whatever we're running with number 2, they're taking that over by this guy. So they're trying to take away all of the Ravens' options on this play because they know it's coming. Well, the Ravens had a cool, built-in adjustment here. A little stop route by Bateman, getting him the ball in space. You guys probably remember it. He jukes 2 guys here off the catch. This is what's so special about him. What he's going to add to the offense is the ability to, basically turn a short gain into a longer gain. It's not like he's going to take stuff to the house, but he's slippery. He's a lot more physical than people think. Maybe he's not the biggest receiver, but pretty damn good after the catch, if you ask me. And you can look and see the blitz work. They were able to hit Lamar right in the mouth. You get a better view of it from the end zone angle. So if this is the read man, they're going to bring him on a stunt. You got a guy off the edge blitzing as well. So all of that indicates keep it and throw it, Lamar. Kind of a bad snap. And he gets knocked down. So I mean, you can't, if you're the Chargers, that's what you want to do. You want to get hits on the quarterback. The play that I just mentioned, this is from week 2. This is going to be a sit. Lamar is reading this inside linebacker here. Which part of this is not NFL schemes? I mean, when NFL teams are doing it, like what we as content creators or we as commentators on YouTube videos, we know that they're going to stop running this, that this doesn't work. Nah, they're going to keep doing it. It does work. They're putting people in conflict. This guy's in conflict. Theoretically, if we lock it on the backside, meaning with the tackle steps out to the DN, theoretically we should have some numbers over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the running back will be 6, just like with the Chiefs play I described earlier against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, you do have a DB up here that becomes the 6th guy. But in any case, Lamar reads it correctly because that linebacker just kind of sits there. There's a lot of space. This could be a give, really. It could be. But in any case, there's a lot of space there. Marquise Brown, 12 or 13-yard gain. Now, these from the Eagles are not really RPOs because, now it looks like it, and that's the whole point, is that some of the play actions look like an RPO. This is a screen, and this is where formation-wise, when you get 3 out here, now you're looking at a bubble with the running back crossing face, and they're not worried about this guy or this guy at all because they're going to block them up. They're worried about the read man right here, so they're just going to read him. As soon as he goes with the running back, now they've stepped the tackle out to go get that inside backer, and it's a cool play. Second play of the year for the Eagles, maybe the first play of the year. You can see they got those 2 guys blocked up. The third defender is the safety, who's up here on the 40-yard line between the hash and the top of the numbers, and you got a great gain to the field off the left side. That was the first 2 plays of the season for the Eagles. And you can see there's no mesh, so it's not really an RPO, don't get me wrong. This linebacker right here, number 54, very undisciplined. There's no mesh at all. Me personally, I just taught my inside linebackers sometimes, not all the time, when it's a shotgun situation and you got the back on your side, just read the mesh. That's all. If there's a mesh, react however I'm telling you to react. If there's no mesh, get in your pass drop. So 54 is just overreacting, and they're running the screen out here with all this field to work with. Same play, I believe, to the other side, the very next play. Same formation. Back to Jalen Hurts' right. Trips or 3 receivers to the field. And same situation. Now this time, you end up with the D-end unblocked, which is number 6. Here, he ends up being unblocked. I don't think this is an RPO necessarily. I have it labeled RPO screen. Probably better just be served to call it a screen because that's really what it is. But the point is, when you run RPOs like the Eagles do, I showed them to you earlier, even though this is week 1, when you run RPOs, then you can do stuff like this where there is no mesh and no read for the quarterback. You've allowed the quarterback to get this thing out there quicker because you're trying to take advantage of the numbers you have. Blocking up here, and then the little bubble screen to number 3, because number 3 for the Falcons defense is way out there extended, off the line of scrimmage. Hopefully I've done a good job explaining to you guys the difference and how RPOs and just a screen can be used together. It's not about every play being an RPO. You can make it look like an RPO, Now, in this case, like the D end is being unblocked, and the right tackle, I think is Lane Johnson, is working up to this inside linebacker here. So it doesn't really matter what that inside linebacker does. He's going with the back in any case, just like 54 was on the previous play on the other side. No mesh, again, between Hurts and the running back. So it's really not anything to read for that inside backer. He's just kind of overcommitting. We're working here towards the end. Another screen, this one by the Chiefs. What's the indicator for you? The back is on the same side as trips. You got 3 receivers over there. The first probably 10 or 12 plays I showed you were RPOs to twins, right? It was 2 receivers to the side of the back. In the first 6 or 8 examples or whatever, as I explained, there was a condensed number 1 and a slot number 2, really tight. Now when they're going to throw the screen, they're not going to condense it. They don't want condensed. They want to use the space. They want to get these guys further away from the formation so that when the receivers go to block them up, now the guy who's getting the screen, which in this case is Kelsey, okay? Now when he catches the ball and then decides to run, what they want is they want more space out here to give him 3 lanes to go through. Essentially, think about it, gaps. You know, this receiver's feet, you got a gap out here. Then this receiver's feet, you got a gap between those 2 receivers. And then, you know, inside of the number 2 receiver, you've got a third gap here, which, you know, theoretically could be filled by this Ravens defender. But those gaps are going to move. I drew them on the screen because of what I'm talking about in this instant. But point is, when you're going to get the RPO screen, or what looks like an RPO, maybe there's no mesh like those Eagles plays, when you're getting that, it's typically going to be trips. That's a pre-snap indicator that defenses should be able to recognize, meaning they've got numbers out there, 2 guys to block for the third guy who caught the football. So you see it develop the way that I just described it. Hopefully, look, I respect and ask for as many comments as possible if there's an element to this that I missed. But essentially, it's just a toss play is all it is, with some window dressing, with the back crossing face. And now this guy, if he's not aware, I'm not talking about Patrick Queen individually, I'm saying that linebacker, if he's not aware of the formation, if he's not aware that there's 3 guys out here, it's not going to be snag. It's not going to be a snag route, a shoot route. And I guess you could. There's no reason why you couldn't do this and just run number 1 off. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. It's just not something that's typically done. The Chiefs are masters at creating these simple, easy completions for Patrick Mahomes. When I say easy, I mean he's reading something typically. In this case, Oweh and Queen are both unblocked. You can see that. And they just throw it out here. I do not think this is a read by Patrick Mahomes. I know that his face mask initially flashed here. I do not think this is a read by him. I think he's just getting this out there because he knows they have numbers. So again, I would not consider this technically an RPO in and of itself, but the use of the RPO opens up these screen plays perfectly. All right, so the Ravens are going to be the illustration for a different concept. I think we've covered, this is the 4th concept, I believe. We had the snag concept. We had the double slants. Some of those were, running plays, obviously, because the quarterback's reading it. Then we had the screens by the Eagles and the Chiefs. Now we got the Hyde concept. You're going to get Andrews running out into the flats. 2-point conversion play against the Colts. They're going to leave that D end or that edge player unblocked. He's going to blitz, and he's not there fast enough. Lamar's able to throw it out into the flats, convert the 2-point conversion. You Ravens fans, are remembering that we ran this against the Steelers to win the football game. With the 2-point conversion, and it did not work. So here you go. Sorry for the flashback. Same concept to the right-hand side. Cover 0, man here, man here, man here, man here. Steelers get away with 1 here because nobody is covering Mark Andrews at all post-snap. So there's a lack of recognition, if you ask me, by the Steelers in that 2-point conversion situation because we played the Colts earlier in the year. Film study in the NFL should be a monumental task, something that you're doing up to the night before the game. And Mark Andrews should not have been able to get that open. But in any case, the Steelers' concept is T.J. Watt just rush the passer, try to knock the crap out of Lamar Jackson before he can do anything. And you can see he clearly does disrupt him. Talk all day you want about whether it should be caught, whether it's a good throw, bad throw, whatever. Mark Andrews is capable of making that catch. But the concept is what I'm showing you is the RPO concept. Is Lamar actually going to hand this ball off? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think this is just a mesh to hold this inside linebacker and not let him do some type of switch whereby he steps out to defend, the snag or whatever here, and then allow the safety or corner who's off screen to run with Andrews out into the flats. I don't think that on this particular play we're actually going to hand this football off. You guys can let me know if you agree or disagree. He does look at something, but I do not think he's actually reading anything and determining whether to hand the ball off or throw it or not. Hyde concept, that's a run play by the Chiefs. Interesting use of formation, if you ask me. You've got the tight end down here. They're in a trips look, they being the Chiefs. So our nickel defender is up here. So we're -1 into the boundary in terms of just 4-2-5 alignment. The fifth DB is to the field, so we're -1 down here. Watch what this tight end does. He's going to make it look like he's trying to reach Bowser. So what that does is it makes Bowser think, I've got to step out here. And so they're trying to expand him. And I believe Mahomes is reading him. Now he ends up handing the ball off, and then it cuts it back to the other side. But I called it Hyde because Kelsey theoretically looks like he's running out in the flats. Mahomes, if he kept it, would run out here. And the reason why he gave it, think about it. If he kept it and Mahomes runs out here, Bowser, the D end, would go ahead and release to attack Mahomes. Averett would try to cover something in the flats. Then you'd have a safety. But still, the creation of the play could work for them. If you had some type of corner or post corner route there, and this here with Mahomes being the third element, that's just option, guys. That's just old school under center triple option, except writ large in a spread formation to take advantage of, these quarterbacks who can throw the ball and recognize stuff out of the gun so quickly. Give you the end zone view. I know these videos are getting pretty long. Got tight end nobody down here, as I explained. He's going to try to expand Bowser. Mahomes is looking right at him. And Mahomes doesn't want to keep it because then he's going to end up with Bowser in his face. So it's a give, and a running back finds some space. I would say that is an RPO. I would say that's an actual RPO, unlike some of these other ones, whereby I have said to you that I believe there was no read involved with the play. Week 1 against the Raiders, RPO with the bubble to twins now. And you've got a lead blocker, not a very big gain. So inconsequential play. Just trying to show you as many teams running RPOs as possible to convince as many people as possible that the RPO is actually an NFL concept. Trips with a back on same side. Number 3 is a tight end, though. If you remember from me talking a couple of minutes ago, I believe if number 3 was further out here, if 2 was here, if 1 was here, 2 was here, and 3's feet were somewhere in here, I think you're looking at a bubble to 3. Here, you got 3 in, and I think Herbert is reading this strong safety or walk down here, so it's a give, very short gain against the run. I think this is actually an RPO, to be honest with you. I think he's reading the strong safety there. If he was reading either of these two guys, this will be a pull. But I do not think he's reading them. I think his eyes are clearly staring at something off screen. I think he's looking here. You guys understand what I'm saying? If it's an actual RPO and he was reading the strong safety, which is number 3 from the sideline, what I'm saying is this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. If he is reading 3 from the sideline, it will be that safety. If he was reading the inside backer to the side of the back, both of those reads would tell him to pull this and throw it out there. That's why I don't think he is reading that. I think he's reading that strong safety. He can't throw it out here because the strong safety has got it defended well. I do believe this is an RPO. I would say 90% of these that I've showed you are actual RPOs where the quarterback is reading something for a run-pass option. One last thing I'll speak on with this. 0 elements of the RPO is a quarterback running the football, even though right there Herbert, who's well coached, is running like he could keep the football, off screen to the right. All right, you got an RPO. For some reason, the video resolution is poor. You got an RPO here. We're reading queen. Same concept. They're opening up this B gap. This motion by Kelsey is pulling queen out just enough, pulling him, out of the box somewhat. Mahomes reads it. It's a handoff. Now queen is still able to get back there and make the tackle, but it's a big gain. All right, last one for you, and this is one that I'm not going to lie. Parts of it, they don't confuse me, but I don't have the greatest handle on it like I do a typical RPO. So the route you're going to get down here by the X, which I think is Mike Williams, is like a speed out, but the back's on the other side. I believe there's some times where the quarterback knows that the nickel defender is over here. Consequently, he's not expecting anyone to be able to run down and attack any short route because you've got a boundary side safety and you got trips over here. So if you just do the math, if the boundary side safety is going to run down and attack something here, and that means this corner is going to get off. Well, then how the hell do they defend 3 vertical? You know what I mean? I guess they would just switch it. This safety would take, the short route, the speed out, and then this corner would take over anything here. But you oftentimes will get one vertical there, and a deeper angled hook on the hash. I know it's all the same color there. But in any case, I believe that what he's doing is the back is to the side of the nickel defender, and I think he's reading this inside backer. If he's reading anything, I think he's reading that inside backer. If that inside backer steps up, then I'll go ahead and throw it to the backside speed out into the boundary because I know there's no one to go help out there. There's no nickel defender widened up outside the box to help out with that. And if this corner is going to jump a speed out, then we're going to go ahead and run the out and up, and we're going to beat him vertical. I believe that's the thought process there. I believe this might be later in the game. I don't have the drive number labeled up there. But in any case, let's look at it from the end zone angle. This will be the last one. Maybe I've lost steam here with my explanations. I knew that my explanation of this, what I call backwards RPO, wasn't going to be as good as my explanation for other ones. I believe if he's reading something, he's reading here. And if this guy was to sit in this area here for a typical RPO, then he would give the football. Now, I'm going to attempt to make one larger point. Think about where the RPO normally goes. It normally goes here. It'll normally be the back crossing face, quarterback maybe keeping it, and then bang, throwing something here because this linebacker has gone with the back. So now that they've maybe established that, I think that's what's happened here. They've established that. They understand that he's going to come downhill. He's going to come downhill and attack. Now they'll go ahead and run the backwards RPO. Maybe there's not enough of a mesh there for it to actually be an RPO, now that I look at it from the end zone angle. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like there's any real mesh and real attempt. To me, that looks fake. That looks like just a typical play action. But I do know that there are teams, even high school teams, that read the backwards RPO. That once they've gotten this guy to be extremely patient and sit. Think about Patrick Queen. I know it was on the other side. Think about Patrick Queen against the Chiefs when he was kind of sitting there, and there was that big ass B gap opening up, and he's either sitting there waiting, and Mahomes hands it off, or actually in some cases he was stepping outside the box with the motion, right? Or the earlier plays I showed you where the back crossed face, I know it's the opposite angle, and Queen was going here, so Mahomes pulled it and threw to the angled hook. On the other side, it's a mirrored image from what I'm drawing for you. But in any case, once they've established that for this guy, then now maybe you run the backwards RPO. I don't think there's an actual read here happening, even though the arms are out and he's looking. To me, this does not look like an RPO. This just looks like a play action, backside to the X. But in any case, hopefully I have convinced you or moved you somewhat. If you were dead set against the RPO being an NFL scheme, hopefully I've moved you a little bit more towards sanity by showing you that Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Herbert, all really talented guys, all great college careers, all had at least one great season in the NFL. Jalen Hurts being an exception, one good one this past year, but not a great one. Those guys are all asked to do it. Josh Allen runs the hell out of some RPOs. To me, it's just a jab that you can hit teams with and then use it to set up other plays. Is it a base foundational play that you run 12, 15 times a game? Probably not. But man, if you watch some Chiefs games, and I do have some Chiefs games on my database that I'm keeping for the Ravens. If you're on my Patreon and you're still listening after 45 minutes, you know I have a lot of Chiefs games on there. And there's a lot of RPOs that they show. Chargers too. I think I've got 3 or 4 Chargers games on there. So if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, you get access to my database, which shows which shows all of this information up here for pretty much every play. There's some plays that I don't have labeled. But, I'd appreciate you guys, liking the video, commenting, and subscribing, and let me know what you think of the RPO, whether it is or is not an NFL scheme in 2022.